right. Game of the hour.
Oh, here we go.
All right, there's a lot of people talking about Mass Effect in the chat on YouTube and Twitch. For those of you just joining, we are gonna get more into Mass Effect specifically, but first I want to kind of lean into it if it kind of hints at my take on the game. I want to talk about other AAA games that kind of had rough launches for one reason or another, and whether or not they fixed said problems at release, and maybe can Mass Effect learn from them, or maybe have the same success in subsequent weeks or months after release. But anyway, yeah. I mean, Mass Effect is out. We will talk about it more specifically. But it's kind of having a rough launch. I mean, there's been, I think, GIFs about its poor performance technically are kind of being overblown, and they're really funny. But I think there are bigger problems with this game than the technical problems. But as it stands now, it's kind of buggy, to say the least. You just saw there, I think that was Jean-Luc Seibke, his gameplay of Mass Effect Andromeda. He's enjoying this game, I believe, for the most part. And he was talking to Drac, the Krogan, your Krogan party character in this game, and another Drac came out of the Drac he was talking to and started wandering the room. And then afterward, he's going to have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he could talk to both of them. And that's not supposed to happen. And then I was talking to Brad over at Giant Bomb. He was saying that he restarted the game to try something out. I don't know if it was a different platform or what, but he restarted the game, and when your character wakes up from cryosleep, like right when you get control, there's Krogans raining from the sky. Right when you get control of your character, Sarah or Scott Ryder, whoever you choose, from cryosleep, the idea being they're sent to the Andromeda Galaxy. They've been in cryosleep 600-something years. They left right after the events of Mass Effect 2, but before the events of 3.
How many farts built up in those 600 years?
Yeah, I know. You just
God.
wake up and just rip. That's why the Nexus is failing, because it's filled with methane gas. But a character, an NPC, was next to... there was an NPC next to him when he woke up, and he talked to him, and he recognized the dialogue from his other playthrough. That was a character from later in the game that he's a quest giver, and he was there next to his character right at the beginning and should not have been there. And he gave him the quest complete dialogue from like 4 hours later.
That's not good.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What? That sounds weird.
Yeah, and then Jean-Luc again was capturing some stuff, and he was talking to...
This is a conversation happening with a wall and whatever that object is.
Yes. He was talking about... If you're wondering why we're showing boring footage like this, that's because this is what we saw when we were playing. You fight the Ket here, and this is, like I said, at least some funny videos, and there are GIFs and whatnot of like PB, the Asari character, holding her gun the wrong way.
Oh, I hate PB.
And there are other problems with this game, and again, we'll get into those. Here are the two Dracs right here, just kind of hanging out. Just spontaneous clone bustion happened, and now here he is, both of his versions talking to him. But, oh man, I got off track because of this footage. We can use more of this in a little bit. But I want to talk about other AAA games with rough releases. The first one that comes to mind that was pretty broken was Assassin's Creed Unity. Do you guys remember that when it released?
Oh, yeah.
Did you play it?
No.
No.
I played it like when it was $20 later down the line, and
Yeah.
it was just like, even then it was still broken, and it wasn't a very good game too. So
This was when I was kind of falling off the Assassin's Creed train.
you lasted a long time.
Well, because
Yeah, longer than most.
because Black Flag was one right before this, correct? 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Black Flag I liked it.
And I really liked Black Flag, but not for like Assassin's Creed purposes. This game was rough when it released. It was like sometimes you just get like clip into crowds and get stuck when like half the game or
Say no more.
All right, we'll definitely watch the video.
I missed
version
my
of this.
flight. And this dude
Posing.
he's using
Just
some sort of ice sword.
This is the famous hairball guy, right? With like the two
Yeah.
eyes and the
Yeah.
hairball.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if Jean-Luc has footage you could pull up of that horrifying face guy that they showed at first.
I hope he doesn't pull that up.
But yeah, this game, I mean, I didn't really like this game outside the bugs, but this was rough when it launched. And they started subsequently repairing it after they released. But it still wasn't that great of a game. But, oh, here we go. Is it going to keep climbing? Nope. Nope. Try again. Nope. Oh, man. Yeah, so the guy with the friggin' face, like in this lapel through his mouth. This was not a rough launch, but to Ubisoft's credit, they did repair it in the subsequent weeks. I don't know what state it's in now, but it just didn't really hit home at release.
I could watch these all day.
Yeah.
How are you talking while watching this?
I don't know. I'm struggling. I get knocked down. Okay. Here's the montage of these.
It was like I don't know if
This is
you
a
ever
new
did like paralysis or whatever in like Oblivion or Skyrim, and they just freeze and they just roll down a mountain or whatever.
Yeah, the opposite of ragdolling. You just tumble end over icy limb. Okay, gonna try to move on from Unity if possible. So Unity, they did do some repairs to it, some like numerous patches. It still took a while, but I guess they made it better technically. I don't still really like that game, but at least they, fixed major problems people had with it. Another one, which is more due to multiplayer servers in general, was Battlefield 4.
This is a big one because for me, I got an Xbox One at launch and I got Battlefield 4 and that was it. Didn't work. So I was like,
Yeah.
all right, well, I got this Xbox One that I'm not playing.
Damn it.
There it is.
I thought we were
Is that
done.
how you felt staring at your Xbox?
Yeah, pretty much.
This looks like the MLB MLB. Okay, to
Oh, that
clarify,
was
MLB
scary.
is very
That was very scary.
MLB 2K or MLB 17 is very, very. It's still not done, so don't
Right.
take that. But you can look up MLB 17 face glitch.
I mean, the devs shared
That gave me
those.
the
things.
devs shared them. Like they had a good sense of
It was
humor about
way
it.
early. Yeah.
That was that what we just saw was a release game, but Battlefield 4 was just not working, and the campaign was.
No, well, the campaign too. Like I think it wouldn't save my game. I'd play like 4 or 5 hours of it, and then it would delete my game, and I'd be like, okay, I guess I'll try again. So I'd try again, and like my friends were like, yeah, I beat it, but I just did it in one sitting because it kept happening to me as well. So it's like the game was broken.
Yeah, and do you remember how long it took to fix?
I don't know. I
It
stopped
was
playing
weeks, right?
Like I think I played it again a couple months after and it worked, but like
Yeah.
it was probably weeks, if not months.
Yeah, Aaron Sampson, he's like a resident military shooter, but especially Battlefield expert. And I remember him talking about it, and he was saying it was super disappointing. Don't ever mention Bad Company to him because he'll talk forever about how good that game is. But like when on the rare occasion he talks about another Battlefield, he's talking about Battlefield 4's broken launch. And I remember when I first came to GDC in 2013 in San Francisco, it was like a massive Battlefield 4. It was the Battlefield 4 reveal, and it was that was like the biggest like ad they had over at Moscone Convention Center, and then like a few months later, it was just the game was destroyed at release.
Yeah.
But they did fix it. It took a long time. Did not release in great shape. Yeah, I guess good on them down the road. But all right, Destiny. This is different because this was not technically massively flawed at the beginning.
I mean, yeah, it wasn't like broken, but a lot of people had problems with vanilla Destiny, and a lot of that was rectified with Taken King.
Yeah.
But I mean, Replacing Dinklebot.
Wait, what's the famous line? That wizard came from the moon one.
The wizard came from the moon.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know like who was directing those voice acting sessions, but
Yeah.
they
So
fixed it.
yeah. So the interesting thing there is because it's a multiplayer game and that's the main conceit of it. It's constantly evolving. So I liked that they took steps to fix problems that weren't necessarily like game breaking problems, but that were hurting people's enjoyment of a lot of things you could do by yourself. And so I think that was an example of something that, I mean, regardless of how you feel about Destiny, it definitely improved over time. And so it's an example of something that like, oh, they fixed a lot of dialogue problems and gave the story a little more interest. And I enjoyed Taken King a lot. I played all of Taken King.
Yeah, mechanically, Destiny felt awesome right away. It still does, but I also was playing it just for the sake of it. I didn't really love it, but then yeah, I like Taken King a lot too for how it changed the structure of the game.
Yeah.
And also the fact that they replaced that voice acting and kind of like wrote a whole new script for who was it? Troy
Nolan North.
Nolan
I think,
North.
did it.
Yeah,
I
Nolan
think
North
so.
did your Ghost. And they fixed it. I think I didn't really like Rise of Iron, but maybe that was just because in comparison to Taken King, which revamped Destiny, kind of paled in comparison.
Well, yeah, Rise of Iron wasn't a completely new like it didn't add as much as Taken King did, but it also reused a lot of assets, and so all of the enemies in Rise of Iron were just like slightly altered reskins, and the areas were reskins, and so that's what I didn't like about it. It was very repetitive to what I'd played before, in a way that different from how Destiny is naturally repetitive, I guess. So yeah, Rise of Iron was like a step, not down for me, but it just was like, oh, I just am happy with Taken King. I just want to play Taken King.
Sure.
The raid was good.
Yeah. And then in terms of another rough launch, it's very different because I think this is based more on pre-release marketing and what people expected, but it might be worth talking about No Man's Sky, a game you liked.
I did like, yeah. But it wasn't a game that I was really excited for going into it. It was one where it was kind of like, okay, I'll review this and I'll find something interesting to like keep myself, or just to get excited about. And what I found early on was the Atlas Path. For me, that made the game super fulfilling, and everything around it was kind of just in support of that, which is great. But I think a lot of people were expecting this, like, once in a while you'll meet someone from the other side of the universe that's another player, and you can like share all these things. And yeah, that didn't happen. So I didn't really find that terribly disappointing, but certainly a lot of people did. And Hello Games has gone to great lengths to sort of add stuff. That aspect still really isn't there, I don't think.
Yeah.
But I mean, did you guys play? Jake, you played, right?
I played a lot of No Man's Sky.
Did you like it despite it not having those things?
Yeah, I mean, I tempered my expectations quite a bit, I'd say. Like, I know a lot of people who are mad about it were expecting like this grand adventure with this great story and like all these different characters you'll meet along the way, and like maybe you'll come across a civilization. Instead, it was just kind of like, but the act of exploring and like, especially like taking off in your ship and like
in that sense,
freedom.
It was a grand adventure, I think.
Yeah. And like, I mean, just like the idea, like the Atlas Path in particular, the fact that you're like traveling through like dozens, if not hundreds of different solar systems with planets the size of like, I don't know, how big did they say they were? Like huge planets. Like it's quite the adventure, I think, when you look at it like that.
It was pretty impressive, but then also, it seems like a lot of people who were excited couldn't just look at the game at face value and I think enjoy it for what it was. So yeah, different from these other examples, but I think it's sort of that, like, what do fans expect, right?
Yes, I mean, like in best case scenario, like in Destiny, I think was a good example, like Kelly mentioned, Taken King, whether it was an expansion or DLC, these games kind of, like improved in the aftermath. Others that were technically glitchy at first, obviously, in 2017, unfortunately, a lot of games are released without the polish that we used to expect, I think, now, because you can get day one patches and whatnot, or sometimes, like in Assassin's Creed Unity, it could take a while. Battlefield 4 could take a while, but thankfully, most of the ones we just mentioned were kind of improved in the aftermath. But let us know if we forgot any, especially ones that did kind of get fixed in subsequent weeks or months after its release. Let us know in the YouTube comments or in the chat as we move on with the show.